back. That was so interesting. Our guest is out, so it's us ladies now deciphering the big SEX. Ladies, are you just singing? Yes, we were singing that song. Let's talk about. Yes. So, yes, now it gets exciting because she's out of the room and now we can just be girls and talk about sex. But I really want to talk about like from the beginning, not now as the ladies we are who are confident, I'm guessing, in our sexuality, right? We're going to talk about that. But as little girls, right? Did you guys get the talk? It's titled The Talk because your parents are supposed to sit you down and say, listen here, baby girl, there's something called sex and this is what happens. Did you get the talk? And what was your first conversation with your parents like about sex?
I got the book. Does that count?
It
came as a book. No. You know, God bless my father. You know, he's an staunch Afrikaans guy. And he found a book that he gave me. He didn't realize I obviously already knew because my cousin had explained to me where babies come from. So I pretty much knew, but it was a book. There was no illustrations. It was just reading. He was embarrassed. It was very awkward. So for me, when it comes to talking about sex, it's always been a taboo thing, especially coming from an Afrikaans or even actually Dr. Elmer said it comes from all backgrounds, but for me it was a very scary thing. Like even thinking of getting into a sexual relationship with anybody terrified me because it was dirty, it was ugly. The church made it even worse because they were like, you don't have sex, it's supposed to be there, and everything you do, make sure that the Holy Spirit, you'll be comfortable with the Holy Spirit doing it in the bedroom. So now you go, that goes out. They said, no. Another church, they said, when it comes to sex, because obviously your sexual preferences isn't just normal missionary position. I mean, come on, there's more to life and pleasure with your partner and your husband.
If you won't do it with Holy
Spirit, it's bad. So that's how you categorized it. So there's certain positions, if the Holy Spirit could be there in the room, comfortable, then you would be allowed. It would be that would be an okay one. So for me, it's always been a very traumatizing thing. And then I mean, my mom was young when she had me. My mom was 18. So when those conversations needed to be had, she was still a kid herself.
Yeah.
So
she didn't know how.
Yeah. And her mom, wasn't very forthcoming when it came to sex too, so it wasn't for me the start of my sexual identity or what I wanted to know about sex was very awkward. It wasn't nice at all.
It was not pleasant.
No.
And Sammy, what was your introduction to sex?
I found a magazine in my sister's cupboard. She had a subscription.
And you're like, what?
Is it the one that you have to scratch things?
No, literally.
It would
actually remember something it said about.
Please don't tell me the Holy Spirit, because then that should be not publicized anywhere.
Let me not say what it said, but it told you how to do certain things, not like beginner stuff. Yeah. It was like how to make, and I was probably like 12. Yeah. But my first introduction was school. Like when they would play a video and everything's in cartoons and stuff like that. And
Did your parents ever talk to you about
Never. Not to this day.
Till today. Nothing.
I think the closest we ever got to having a conversation was the joke with Nail. And I was like,
what was the joke?
My mom said that?
What was the joke?
So I had a little chat at Sammy's wedding anniversary. So Sammy and her husband stayed over, and then the next day I tell, her mom is like, where are they? I'm like, they still at the honeymoon place and they're having honeymoon. She's like, ooh, having more babies. I'm like, oh. And then I tell her, I'm thinking it was funny.
But can you understand? It's not even like a big deal. Like I can talk with her mom, crazy stuff. But to hear my mom saying, oh, they're going to come back with a baby. Like, wait, my mom's acted like I've never had sex my whole life.
You're a virgin.
Yeah, like.
It's too bad.
No, we don't talk about how that happened and how it came to be.
Yeah, and I think it's similar also in my culture, and I don't know if I'm saying my culture, speaking for you, we don't talk to our elders about the subject. It's like, hey, go talk, I'm not your friend, go talk to your friends. And even now when we go home, my children, we write in the second Bible, my husband has never touched me. It's just like, hey, there is none of this.
But were you taught about sex?
It was school, actually. Our school was very progressive, and we were like standard 1. What is standard 1?
Grade 3.
we were introduced at grade 3, and they had health, and we had like files that we took home. It was a whole and it was a school in the township, but very progressive and like health and whatever. But then I think for me it was still big words, and I didn't really understand what that meant until some child in the street said, and I still believed babies come, stalk or.
Yeah.
And then they did that. I was like, you're lying. I literally remember having this big argument, my neighbor telling me about it. I was like, no, you lie. And it was such a, I felt so hurt that I was not told. And I think throughout my life then, or my high school life then, everything is confirming what my neighbor's saying. Magazines, like really True Love, Cosmo. I'm like, what? It's true. No. I still believe they come on the stalk, so. And that was the introduction. And I think, and also in our culture, you kind of had to populate. What's populate? Like,
Walk on eggshells.
just
Or avoid.
find
your way.
find your way as you go.
Okay.
And it's an error. Press, no, and then just little boys in the street have naughty things. They're like, did you hear about the naughty? What's the naughty? You're like, what is that?
Wow.
So, yeah.
The first time I ever learned that an erection happens was, again, everyone gathered into the library. This movie is on, and this little cartoon boy is walking on the plank to, the platform to jump into the diving board. Yes. And he's walking along the diving board, and he stops there to dive, and all of a sudden his shorts go like this. And all of a sudden we're all like, what is that? What just happened to you?
What is it and what does it mean? I think I was the same. Yeah, I think I was pretty much the same till today. It's like we don't talk about sex. Yeah. I was never taught about sex from my mother, but she had a friend who was very progressive. She was like our second mom, so to speak, right? And my mom kind of trusted her with everything. So I don't know. I must actually ask my mom if she asked her to come tell us. It's like, you just talk to her because she's getting, she's growing. Like,
my children to you.
Yes, because sometimes it is like that. Like your mom's comfortable with saying certain things to Newo, she wouldn't say to you about sex. And sometimes you're also like, my kids, you tell my kids. So I think maybe my mom did the same thing, because this lady came and she told us, and she was like, and she was a teacher. So she came with a diagram, a piece of paper, and she's like, so, I'm going to tell you about sex. Started drawing everything out. This happens, this happens. Okay, and then if your period, this happens. She draws it, she puts it down, then she takes another piece of paper, and when your period starts, you know about periods? No? This happens.
Did you understand?
Understood it clearly. She was very good at it, she was.
Oh, okay.
And then,
Still around?
no, she passed away. She was the sweetest, the most amazing person ever. So she's like, this happens. And then if you have sex and your parents have started, you'll have a baby. Do you know the sperm? Draws the whole thing. And then I was like, okay, I get it. Then she's like, you sorted. I'm like, peace. So it was very professional. She didn't make it dirty, luckily. And I grew up where I come from a Christian background. So it's always like, you don't talk about sex, you don't do sex. Until you're married, you don't, like, it's just, don't be dirty, Yes. So for the first time with her, it wasn't dirty. It was just something people do. It's going to happen. It was kind of like, this is what people do. It's going to happen at some stage. Yes. And if it happens, let me know. There are dangers to it. You need to be prepared. And that's that, right? But now, how did it affect you that you were taught about sex in such a dark, negative way? Did it affect you now when you're growing up, you're getting married, and you're having, you're active, Did it affect you?
I think for me it took a bit of an understanding, or coming to a place where I had to find my own rhythm and my own understanding. It wasn't something that you could go speak to anybody about. So my initial idea of it was, you do it, it's bad. So you avoid it. You avoid everything. I mean, I had a lot of guy friends, but you avoid sex. That is, it's wrong, it's bad. So when you do find something, and something you do have a relationship with somebody, and you do have an intimate relationship with them, you still have to overcome those mental blocks. It is a block. And it blocks your pleasure, because you first of all don't even know if you're doing it right, because you were never really explained on how it should be, what it should feel like. You know what I mean? So for me it was... you had to go through things to understand. It wasn't.
I think it is that word I'm saying, populator.
Sort of yeah, you're right. And the thing is, it's a dangerous thing because your friend's concept about sex, she might have a very open mother. So their concept, or they're watching pornography, or the stuff that's available to people now is quite. I mentioned in the last episode we were talking about pornography now is a stimulus. People can use it as stimulation, but you don't really know the background to that pornography. For us as a spiritual, it's not something that I would do. But if there's Christian literature, like Dr. Alner so rightfully mentioned, and I didn't know about that, it would be something that I would be interested to go and see, because I know the back into the pornography industry, so I wouldn't even want to explore that. But I'm a different person. What about all the other women that are going through the taboos of the shame, the not understanding, the pressure, the anxiety, the fear? And the thing is, when you have your walk, or like I'm also a Christian and I have my walk with God and I'm truly grateful for it, but I wasn't always like that. So for me, I've had a sexual encounter, but I had a lot of shame attached to it. I had to give a lot of that up to say that it was a long relationship, but now I understand, but it doesn't make me wrong prior to that.
But I think it goes from thou shall not to thou shall. And then you're like, shall what?
Yeah, I get that.
Shall what? Help!
So did you know what you shall do?
But that's what I'm saying. No, so I
On
think
and off. So now you mustn't, and then you must.
I
When
didn't
do
know
you
a
do
lot
what?
of what to do, but I had a lot of married friends also, and I've been blessed with very candid friends. So in my sort of adulthood, people were very vocal, and we also made sure that bridal showers, we had people coming and educating, and it was again populeta, you're like, oh, okay, populeta.
Word of the day.
Populeta, like, oh, okay, trial and error, and that's what you. And I'm saying, and I think a lot of women, even today, they can be married for 20 years, whatever. It's like, am I right? Am I wrong? And because also if you talk about it, it's like, oh, okay, you're not having a good time in your marriage. If you ask, it's like, is there trouble in paradise, So women are also ashamed to even talk about it till today.
Wow.
And the thing for me is something that was very startling is talking about orgasms. I mean, how many women are going through life not even understanding what an orgasm is? That is so sad. I'm so sad.
40-year-olds who are like, I've never. You know what I mean?
But and the thing is, there's no one talking about it to say there's a Dr. Alner. Go and see. We are so scared about talking about toys because it's so taboo. You're a dirty girl. No, you're not. I don't believe it. It's opened my eyes to a whole different way of seeing things.
I loved her analogy about ice cream and pizza.
Yes. I still love ice cream and pizza. Like, it's
Yeah.
not even going to change
taking
ever.
those ways.
Still gonna be confused about that. So I'm gonna stick to pizza.
I want both.
But I think one of the things that creates those blockages where there is 1 out of 10 women, and I know there's medical issues too, but I think it's also like all the stigma that comes with sex and sexuality and talking about it. The shame you're mentioning is sometimes, yes, from one, if you asking questions, you don't know enough. Ooh, and now what's going on?
Yeah.
It's like you should know all of it, but you shouldn't know all of it, and you shouldn't be doing it, but you should be doing it. It's like no one must tell you, and you can't talk about it, but you must learn about it. So it's like, where do we stand? So you know what I mean? There's so much shame around sex. I think one of the things that I was talking to you guys about was the song that came out recently. Yes, which yes. Yes, so the song, do that again.
That's all. What is that called again? Web.
Yes, so the song is about women taking power over their sexuality, being confident in their sexuality, and affirming how they want it. Remember what Dr. Elner said about how women are afraid to say, touch my boob, be direct, don't be afraid to just say it, right? So the ladies in the song basically said, touch my boob in 10,000 ways, but 10,000 ways of saying touch my. But what happened was that they got a lot of backlash. They got a lot of backlash because people were shaming them. So they were called names because they're being so outwardly sexual and saying how they want it and when and why. And I find that that happens a lot in society. As a woman, you can't say, me, I like it every day. You know, it's like, oh, what type of woman are you? Do you feel judged? Do you ever feel judged sometimes or feel like you mustn't be too sexual? You know, and it happens within religious spaces and society as a whole.
Now, for me, I'm gonna,
I just don't care.
like, I want to have a healthy sexual vocabulary with my husband, but like for me it was just a bit like what they wanted to do. I understand what they wanted to achieve, but I think they took it and they made it just they turned it up a little too much for me. It sort of got lost in translation. Like, I believe a woman should be able to say, I want you to do this to me. I like it when you touch me there. I want you. For me, it's a reactive thing, because sex isn't only about just being quiet and getting it over and done with. You talk to each other. It's an intimacy. It's a psychological thing. But I agree with their thought pattern on saying it's okay. Why are men always okay to talk about how many women they've slept with? But when a girl does it, you're ashamed and you're called vulgar names. So why is it that, again, we spoke about it in femininity too, in Fiercely Feminine, women are we are always trying to catch up to where we're allowed to do certain things.
Trying to liberate
Ourselves.
ourselves.
And we shouldn't.
Yes.
We shouldn't.
We have to liberate ourselves so that we can go to
Vote.
school.
And vote.
Just vote.
Yeah.
Just go get an education. Just go and work and choose what job I want, regardless of the industry it's in.
Correct.
Now we have to liberate ourselves in the bedroom. Now we're constantly fighting a fight.
And you
of
don't have to
liberating
agree with
ourselves.
vulgarity, but you can't choose which sex is allowed to be and which isn't.
And
Because
that's
in the 80s, R. Kelly was gyrating his like groin in women's faces on videos, and nobody said anything. But like a video like that, which I don't particularly like or enjoy.
Style.
Exactly, it's not my style, but what makes you think R. Kelly's okay, but
And
this
the
is
woman
not okay?
can't do the exact same thing.
I
That's
think
where the issue lies.
I think what I'm hearing you ladies say is that we should make it okay to have these conversations in society, never mind just amongst women. First of all, amongst ourselves, that is not taboo, because we judge each other when we bring these things up. And also in society, it must be okay to bring it up, and in however portraying you want to bring it
And
up.
I think what Nolu is saying is that your gender should not define what you're allowed to say and not say.
Boom! Can we make us say that again?
Especially when it's literally a double standard. So it's not, as human beings, you shouldn't kill. Oh, human beings shouldn't kill. Not women must kill, guys mustn't kill. Don't make it a double standard about gender, that women can talk about, men can talk about how many. You know what the thing is, I feel like it's part of patriarchy. I feel like it's like, when a guy says, I've had a certain number of sexual partners, they can be found more desirable because they're like, oh, they're experienced, dude. When a woman says, I'm telling you, in society, when a woman says, I've had the exact same number of partners, then you get shamed all the time. You get shamed and you're less desirable because of that. The more innocent you are, yes, you know what I mean? And that's just, for me, all of those things need to change. And we're still fighting a fight of liberation till today, even in sex and even in our sexual spaces. You know?
So what's important from this conversation in terms of the bedroom is when society confines our sex or determines our opinion on sex or how we feel about sex or our level of liberation within sex, how do we bring that into the bedroom? How can I be liberated in the bedroom when out there I'm told,
yes, you're being dirty.
yeah, you're dirty, or it should be like this, or only these positions, or the church is saying that, or I
Or
must
the
say,
Holy
however,
Ghost is watching you.
for me it was a completely different experience.
What
the
was
church
yours?
liberated me.
Yeah, okay. How did it liberate you? Tell us.
Conversation, like just from the pulpit, was always that be comfortable with it. Men pleasure your wives, wives pleasure your men, the importance of it in marriage. I attended a lot of women's meetings or conferences where they would say to you, be pretty, dress up, wash up, put some perfume on. Those things were never, so it liberated how I saw sex, that it was not, it's not dirty, it's not,
Can I just ask, that be pretty thing, why are women being told be pretty? Why can't men also
But
get
men went to men's conferences and we're told,
Are they?
yes. Tyron will tell you he's been to men's conferences at Rivers where they've said, pleasure your wives, be clean for your
I know
wives.
a few spaces say that, but I'm just talking in general. A lot of time you just hear, were you pretty enough when there's a divorce? Oh no, you didn't keep up your body.
Maybe it's just our makeup. So for women, it's that have a conversation with me, because a lot of the time it's they tell men touch her all day. Don't just come to her in the evening and want sex. Even if it's putting your hand on her, even if it's telling her she looks beautiful, because that's when women feel their attraction.
They say foreplay
That's
starts
their
in the
foreplay.
morning.
But with
They say
men, it's
it starts when you
visual.
wake up, you treat her right the whole day.
And men are
get her
visual.
ready. Yeah.
So I can get
But
it
I
from that
also hear what you're
perspective.
saying, that you feel like the pressure is put mostly on women to kind of drive
Like
the room.
lingerie.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
in
like
sex.
lingerie.
It's like, did you dress up? When you're talking about dressing up, you're not talking about your husband, are you?
But would you want your
it's
husband to
you.
dress up? I wouldn't want my
What
husband
if
to
I
dress
want
up.
him to dress up? There's some nice things they can
then
wear.
it's your thing.
There are some nice things.
The point is that I want my husband to just stroke my face. I want my husband to come in and say, oh, you're cooking, but you look sexy. Do you know what I mean? Like the roles are different.
And maybe it's
so I don't
individual
want
level.
him
Do
to
you
put
want
on a
him
sexy.
to put on a sexy outfit?
I don't want my husband to put a thong on. It's okay. Don't dress up. Do you know what I mean? Like we both approach it differently. So I'm not saying that men can come in gross, you are a mechanic and you don't wash your hands. It's not that. It's just that we attracted in different ways and they are visually attracted. And so to say that all the work is on us is not fair as well, because our work might be physical, but their work is throughout the day making you feel attractive.
I hear that. And I think my other question was, the point I was making also is that a lot of women, what I've heard also is that lingerie is actually not for the men, it's for them.
Yeah. I agree, because when I dress up, like for me, just shopping for it already, I can feel like, when am I gonna wear it? What am I gonna do? Like, and then it already gets me going. Like, when's it gonna arrive in the post? Oh, that day, and then it comes. It's like tonight's the night.
So you say not?
I don't know. I like to see the look on his face. So for me, it's when I look at something, it will be like, I wonder what he's going to see or what he's going to feel. Is it going to blow his mind? Selfish.
I'm selfish.
But for me, it's there's so much that we're trying to process in the bedroom where it should be one of the safest places for a husband and wife. But the thing for me is, if you look at divorce rates, sometimes it's a cosmetic thing, like there's no foreplay, or he's just not doing this. Where do we get to a place in the bedroom where it's talking and conversing and saying, I like it when you do that, do more of this? Or is it so taboo still today, and I'm 40 years old, is it still such a taboo place where you what's the word? Pupuleta in the bedroom. Is that what we're doing?
I think
We
it
need
starts
to.
right at the
So I
beginning.
love lingerie and stuff like that, but I do want to see what it does. I do have him in mind when I choose. Like, I want to know what his face is. It going to blow his mind? Is it going to blow his mind? Is it going to make him? No, not really. I like it too. Like putting it on, but not like.
Another thing that
I'm all about me. I'm all about me in the bedroom. I'm kidding.
another thing that also, so lingerie can make you feel confident, for various reasons. But some of the things that might make us not so confident in the bedroom are things like being a new mom. I don't know if you remember being a new mom, and not now. Like now, it's like much later on. You've gotten over all of that stuff, right? But being a new mom, and you've never been a mom before. Your body's never looked like this before. You've never been through this whole experience. Did it affect your intimacy? Did you have issues with confidence?
I felt sexier.
Did you?
Because I had like small boobs my whole life.
And now they're like,
And then I was like, whoa!
And I was just tired. Guys, I was just tired. I was just like, there's another person. I'm not sleeping. I'm sleep deprived. That was like nothing in my radar. I'm just like,
Listen, and sometimes the kids in the room, so you got to like try and make it. At least they not opening their eyes. Or don't try and make a plan.
But it's awkward. It's like, can I do this while the baby's in?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. No. And then whistle.
Like a 3-month-old.
Do you lock the door? I locked the door. I saw
Oh,
my
I've
parents
heard
once,
Dr.
it was
Elna. She's
traumatizing.
got a thing. Go on her Instagram. She has a whole teaching about locking the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it good? Is it bad?
No, she says, please lock the door.
Okay,
you will
yeah.
horrify the children if you
Yeah.
don't lock the door. What?
Experience. I've walked in,
Oh, thank God, you
and it was
walked in.
in my
Okay.
face. No, can you imagine? Can you imagine the one with the big eyes looking at me going, what is happening there? My daughter would freak out. Gabriel would think it's a wrestling match or something.
That is crazy. And how did you get over that fatigue that you felt? And which sometimes still happens even now, where you're busy, you're mothering, you're working, you're doing everything for everyone, and you get tired. How do you work with fatigue, like bedroom fatigue?
For me, that's
Do
a
we need Dr.
big
Elna
one.
back?
Guys, it's a real thing. It like is a real thing.
Tiredness, guys.
busy
and the
lives,
thing is
yeah.
also, we must remember the positions we have in our lives now. A lot of women with working. Elna was saying earlier, we have women being executives now, which didn't happen a lot of time in the past. We have women working, mothering, wifing, and you've got all these other responsibilities. And then, so the kids are small. Now the kids grow, but responsibilities have grown. I don't know if it's still, so the effort becomes more.
But if society is changing, then our relationships should be changing, because then you can't expect women to assume a new role while keeping their old roles. So then, where are the men in with raising the children? Where are the men
100%.
in
They should be able to
providing? Where are the men in cleaning the
Patriarchy.
house?
No, repeat that. Say it louder. I'm going to do that until you're done, because I agree. Because it takes off the workload. You can't have one
Yes.
person carrying 90% of
Yeah.
the workload, and then
And
the other
still-
person carrying 10% and waiting at the end of the day saying, "Where's your lingerie?"
I saw something in the post.
I opened for the career guy today.
And he gave me a look. By the way, do they come like, do you know when it arrived that it is?
Lingerie.
Yeah, you get SMSs to say that your Dawn Wing
you
is
can't
delivering
see
your. You can't. No, it doesn't look like anything.
No,
It's in a brown white box. I mean, a white box, like cardboard box, and no, it doesn't look anything like that. I don't even know where you got
So
that from.
this box is the box that we had in our femininity conversation, and we can't end this conversation without diving into it just a little bit, because it is the box of ultimate sexual
erotica.
liberation.
What is she called? What is she called?
Erotica. That's what she called it.
Eroticism.
So we're just, I mean, there's a lot of things in here, and
going to educate us, no?
I would love to, but I don't know what's in here. So if any one of you can find,
must close her eyes, pick something,
and then we guess what we guess. Let's guess first, and then somebody must correct us if they know what it actually
close
is.
your eyes.
I must close my eyes and
And
dig
just
in.
find anything.
Oh, wow.
Make it interesting.
How do I know? Okay.
We'll figure it out.
What is
Okay.
this? Can everybody see it?
Yes. What do you look at it? You can
Oh, I can look now.
Yeah.
Woo! It's stickers.
You left your kids' stationery in the box.
Well, so, and I think people think,
You left your kids' stationery in the box.
but you know, guys, I think people think every time to get things in the box, you must have gone to some dodgy shop, whatever.
Yeah.
This is from a normal art store and
Party shop.
party shop,
Whatever.
whatever, and this can be very creative.
Party spot. What
What do you do with it? Anybody have an idea?
I can
What would
guess.
you do?
This looks like you can guess. It's like you probably stick it in places
On your boobies.
on your boobies.
Or anywhere. I mean, you could put one here under your belly and then make an arrow underneath it with glitter or something. That could be cute.
And I love this because I still worry about sex toys being dirty. Don't you? You know the feeling of like
So
it's
this is an
dirty.
alternative.
But this is like cute things that you can do. I actually
I mean,
like
they
this.
sell
It's
products
cute.
to clean them with.
Not dirty like that.
Oh, dirty like that.
Dirty like
So if you struggle with
yeah, it's feeling like
proper toys, you can actually go to art stores and get creative.
But you know what I also want to say is that I think a lot of what the media or what is available on Google is there are some things that are really dirty, but you do get places that really have high-end little knickknacks that you can use that are really tasteful, and it does increase your excitement in the bedroom. It shouldn't be something that it shouldn't be boring. But what I do want to say that was very interesting from that I picked up from Dr. Alna was, guys, there's no handbook. People keep telling you if you're not doing it 3 times a week, there's a problem in your marriage. If you're not doing it, there's so much unnecessary pressure on us as women, as couples, that divorce rates are so high because you actually don't know if you're doing anything right. Anything right. So we need to remember that this is okay if once a week and you guys are on point and it's a monogamous relationship and everyone's happy, that is whatever floats your boat at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think also to have chats, these kind of chats with your girls, where you get ideas that you can actually go to a kiddies party shop, that you can have these conversations.
What are you digging in there for, Nolu? Nolu's like, this box is, he says, what, open Pandora's box again.
I really don't get it. There's kids stationery.
No, but that's what we're talking about. And if we don't have these conversations, glitter. Like glitter can spice up the bedroom. Who knew glitter?
Yeah.
Be creative with glitter.
Lipstick, UV lipstick.
UV, glow in the dark.
Do you need
What
a
do
UV
you
light?
want to do with it?
You need a UV light.
It would make sense that you would need a UV light
I
for
was
that.
trying to say that.
I would think.
Where did this person have a UV light?
So, I mean,
This
like,
person-
just from general information and
Oh no, this is the real deal.
just stuff I've learned over my life, that you can take your cell phone and you put a blue and then you put red. You put, so clear blue and then clear red, and it will create a UV light. But I mean, this is just like high school science.
Yeah.
High school science can help. But why can't we open further? No?
Because it got serious.
I
real
want Ginny
quick.
to pull something
Pull
out.
something
Come
Yeah,
on.
Ginny.
Okay,
close
this
your
is-
eyes.
make it
Wait,
good,
I
Ginny,
already-
this is
no,
the
no, no,
last
I already
thing.
took this out, so let's Ginny
Yeah.
open.
Make it good.
Make it fun for Ginny.
Yeah.
Make it
We
real
already
good.
took out stationery.
Listen, I don't get embarrassed.
Why do you have scissors?
This
What are you cutting?
I'm not opening that one. Give it to me. Give me the one that you want.
Open.
Give it to me.
Close your eyes.
It is this one, isn't it? What is this?
Oh, I love what you pulled out. What is it?
What is it? Tingling lip gloss for oral pleasure. Warming and cooling lip gloss. Like, guys, this can really spice things up. Just be careful where you
It's
put
such a
it because
pretty
it will
box.
burn. I'm sure it will tingle the wrong tingle. Don't get it in your eye.
Yeah, it's just your eyes need to be.
But I think, guys, like I'm saying, yeah. Let me give it a read. Let me just okay. Some is in French and Spanish. There we go, English. Reach another dimension. Okay, listen, we're going to talk about this open. There's nothing crass about there's oral sex, guys. We understand what this is. Reach another dimension of oral sex with this hot and cold effect stimulating lip gloss. So, guys, I mean, it's something that you can really do with your partner. I feel like I'm selling it on Verimark.
Verymark.
And if you call now
Yeah.
all
So,
new special.
but what I'm saying is this, like, we are so ashamed of talking about oral sex. And
Yeah.
again, it's something that you talk about having the Holy Spirit in the room. Would you buy this? No, you
No.
wouldn't. But I'm saying,
To watch you tingle?
But what I'm saying is that this is something that increases pleasure.
Yeah.
It's your husband. It's your.
And look at how pretty it is.
It's really beautiful.
And I think that's the thing is, Jen, what I want to
pretty.
say is that there's really places you can go where it's classy and tasteful.
High end. I mean, Sammy and I speak about a place that used to be in Durban. It was called The Bedroom. It was the most beautiful boudoir setting. You would sit and you would get. You would sit in a room, and they would have champagne, and they would have all the 50 Shades of Grey. I mean, like 50 Shades of Grey was sort of where this whole thing was opened up. People who
Except
watched.
for the bedroom existed before.
Yeah,
that.
they did.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that 50 Shades of Grey made it okay for people to start discussing it. Do I agree with the movies and stuff? It's a little bit high end, but it's a bit much. But
Do you want me to take
there
something
is
out in there?
really some important stuff that came from that. It wasn't a taboo. There we go. 50 Shades of Grey. But I mean, it was.
I was looking when Ginny was opening and I saw it.
Oh, there's something in there.
But I think now a lot of people are so scared to go to those dodgy shops.
We don't have time
Listen,
for
guys,
We don't
there are
wanna-
dodge- There are dodge places.
And
guys, do not
it's
go.
in dodge places. It's just like at the corner of something. And we don't want
And
to.
that's
feel like you're
probably
buying
because
a
it was
drug.
always seen as dirty. That's probably why.
The shop
And the
isn't
thing
like-
is, there are some fetishes that we haven't even got into. There are some things that those places will feed those types of fetishes and bondage and like sadomasochism
but
and
fetish.
fetishes. But for me, there are places that are tasteful that do the lingerie, they do different things. They do nipple caps and stuff like that. If that's your thing and that's with your husband, I'm not saying if this is something you want to try and do with that isn't your husband, problem. But if it's something that you want to do with your husband, I say go for it. Go for it.
You guys are talking about a place in Durban, but we're in Joburg.
Yeah, they actually, I don't know why they
Places
actually
in
closed down, but
Joburg.
there
They were in
must be.
Joburg. They were
Yeah,
small places.
but they were in Durban as well. The original one was in Durban. In
Okay,
Umhlanga.
so there's places in Joburg that are tasteful, that people.
I think we need to maybe, I don't think there's anything anymore like you
after
can go and sit
COVID.
in and stuff, but I think it's something, you can shop online. I think there's a Matilda's, there's some other places that we can maybe let our
We'll let our
talkers
viewers know.
But the thing again is there's tasteful places. It's not a taboo thing, it's not an ugly thing, it's not a dirty thing. Our generation are the ones that need to change the narrative. We need to be the ones that are going to say it is okay, because you know what? Sometimes someone does.
tell my child it's okay. So until she gets married, until her wedding day, Holy Spirit's
Remember,
with her.
Pastor Noretta's got a book that she explained everything
On your wedding day.
on your wedding day.
Until then,
But
it's
yeah, so
dirty.
I think
Yeah, but for me, I'm talking about your husband. Like,
Yeah.
Sometimes you think someone does something or your husband does something to you, and you think, oh no, I shouldn't feel like that. It's ugly. But if it's a pleasurable thing between you and your husband, what is the problem? What is the issue?
I think
We
what
need to
we're saying
explore our
here-
sexuality. We need to stop looking, and this is the generation. I'm 40 years old. It was
Hello,
taboo. We
hot
need
40.
to change the narrative and the way people look at sex with their husbands in a marriage. We can't be throwing this out so that you can have 100 sexual partners because
Yeah.
there are
STDs.
STDs.
There
There
are
are.
STDs.
We talk about
We saw a
spiritual level,
video
soul
earlier.
ties, stuff like that. There are real things.
Oh!
No, that is for another episode. But STDs and
Are
bad. It's just a no-go, especially for the other person. Yeah, that was very bad.
Yeah, but
That was-
I think I love what you said, Jen, also about, I think the takeaway for me from this episode is really that it's up to you. If you and your husband are in a safe space and you're enjoying yourselves, pleasure is up to you. Don't let
Yes.
anybody else define what
Correct,
should be
100%.
pleasurable, what you should be doing. If you don't want to wear lingerie, don't wear it.
Yeah.
If you guys don't enjoy it, don't wear
But I
lingerie.
think it needs to be mutual.
That's which is what I'm saying. I'm saying
Yeah.
if between the two of you, you don't enjoy lingerie, then don't do it. You don't enjoy toys, then don't do it. You don't enjoy doing it 5 times a week or 3 times a week. It's up to you. You are your own manual. You create it between you and your husband. And I
husband.
think that's my takeaway
I
from it.
agree.
Yes, move away from
Tradition,
everything
from
else.
teachings.
Yeah.
It's not ugly. It's a beautiful thing between a husband and a wife. It is where there's unity, there's blessing. It's biblical. It's spiritually,
So unite
intimacy.
in the bedroom.
Yeah, unite in the bedroom. Yes, and that is how we're going to end. Unite in the bedroom. I don't know if anybody wants to say anything
Any
else,
last
guys.
words?
Any last words?
There's a lot of last words, but I will leave it
Yeah,
here.
but that's perfect. Yeah, and
Yeah.
own your pleasure. I think for me, for the
Yes.
ladies especially,
Yeah.
own your pleasure. If you don't own your pleasure and liberate yourself with you and how you experience pleasure, then it's difficult. You're going to have blockages even within your marriage and your relationship.
Yes.
So own your pleasure and don't be ashamed of it. And it's nobody's business what you do in the bedroom anyway.
And
We'll
talk
get
to
you
your
together.
and talk to your
Yeah.
girls. Your women relationships are the ones you need to most cultivate, because this is where your safe place is.
Yeah.
And the thing is, women, I'm speaking to you now. Don't shame your friends. Be there. Be a
Yeah.
part of their process. Be a part. If they want to go somewhere and have a look at something,
Go
go
with
for
them.
it. Go with them.
For me, what's been very interesting is that we're from different cultures, but also similar
The
experiences.
experiences are similar. We're
From,
all taught
you know what
similar
I mean?
things.
Our teachings and growing up, and how
This
we
is
can
how we do
actually, together now move and have this conversation. And if 4 different women like this can have
Yeah.
this conversation, you can have it with your girls. It's okay, and you can uplift each other. Just like you uplifted each other with going to get your dreams in the workplace, you can uplift each other with
In the
this.
bedroom.
Thank you, guys. Please like, comment, share, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Talkers, we love you. Thank you for the support in the comments, and have a great day. Bye.